Today on ZZZ Made Easy, we're riding into battle with Starlight Billy. This video will cover the basics of Billy's main mechanics, how you can build them, and some teams you can go into. This video was made in collaboration with Hoyocreators and uses footage from the creator beta server. There are no sound effects and things are subject to change. Thank you Hoyocreators for the opportunity. Starlight Billy, S-Billy, or Silly Billy is an S-rank physical rupture agent from the Cunning Hares. Billy has upgraded one of his hand cannons into an arm cannon that also functions as a melee weapon. Billy can ride his motorcycle into battle at the cost of HP, and like the other Rupture agents, Billy will utilize a block mechanic as a core part of his gameplay to stay aggressive. Playing Billy is just so much fun. All his moves are incredibly flashy, and you have a lot of chances to tag in allies while Billy lights them up in the background. Billy has the usual Rupture agent traits. He calculates damage using the Sheer Force stat, which is composed of 10% HP and 30% attack. All of Billy's physical damage attacks are considered sheer damage. Sheer damage ignores the enemy's defense stat, so unfortunately Boss Nicole's 40% defense shred will not help Billy this time. Rupture agents use adrenaline for casting EX specials instead of energy. Billy recovers 2 adrenaline per second, and when entering battle, Billy starts with 60 adrenaline. Billy's unique resource is called Determination. Billy gains Determination by attacking up to a max of 120. It's not stated, but from my testing, Billy appears to passively recover 2 Determination per second. He can gain Determination while off-field, as long as you're considered in combat. Triggering a perfect dodge by any means will grant 3 Determination. Billy has more methods to recover Determination, but we'll cover those as we get to each move. Once you save up to 100 Determination, designated by the hash mark on the bar, you can hold basic attack to use full throttle Starlight. Billy zooms around before blasting the enemy with his exhaust, and this is Billy's second highest damage move behind his ultimate. A core theme in Billy's kit is that he has many opportunities to swap out and call for backup. While full throttle is happening, feel free to bring in another agent. Billy's general goal in combat is to build Determination to use full throttle as much as possible. Billy's most important combo starts with his regular special, Drive Suppression. Billy rams the enemy with his bike for a short duration. This move costs 16% of his max HP to use, and if you're under 25% HP, then Billy cannot use Drive Suppression at all. Drive Suppression is just the first step of a 3-part combo. It lasts for about a second or so, and after this duration, Billy will launch into the air. This upward move is Billy's EX special, Cool Wheelie. Cool Wheelie does not cost adrenaline, and it triggers automatically. If Cool Wheelie hits an enemy, Billy recovers 8 Determination. After Billy lands his Cool Wheelie, he will dismount his bike, launching it at the enemy. This is actually the third move in the combo, regular special, Run Wild. Drive Suppression, Cool Wheelie, and Run Wild all happen in a row. We mainly care about Cool Wheelie because it's one of Billy's EX specials. Not only does it grant 8 Determination, but it does all-right damage, and again, it costs no adrenaline. I'm going to be bringing up this set of moves a lot in this video, so just to shorten it, we can call it the Drive Combo. Yeah, it's technically only one button press, but there are 3 separate moves happening. If Billy gets attacked during the Drive Suppression duration, then he will block the attack and start Cool Wheelie immediately. This is great because Drive Suppression isn't really doing a ton of damage anyway, it's pretty much just the starting move to get to Cool Wheelie. If you manage to time this bike block, Billy will gain a bonus 5 Determination. This stacks with Cool Wheelie's 8 Determination, so try to land this block as much as possible. From the core passive, when you use Drive Suppression, Billy gains a massive 90% crit damage buff for 45 seconds. This should be active the entire fight. Since Drive Suppression uses HP, Billy will get 50% damage reduction, but only when it's under 25% max health. Luckily, Billy can heal HP with certain moves. Similar to Yutari, Billy's HP is going to be ping-ponging back and forth. I'll cover what moves heal Billy as we get to them. Actually, let's cover one source of healing right now. Billy's basic attack string is a 4-part close-range combo. Billy has iframes on his 3rd and 4th basics while in the air. The entire full combo heals about 11 to 12% max HP, which is pretty good. As long as you're basic attacking, Billy will always be healing. You can interrupt Billy's basics with Drive Suppression at any time to block an attack. Well, since Billy's 4th basic takes a little while to fire, if you interrupt it with Drive Suppression, Billy will only lose 8% max HP. You could assume this is like a trade-off for not landing the 4th basic, except you can land the 4th basic attack, then press special, and he will still do the half HP cost Drive Suppression. Consider this a little quality of life bonus. Let's review what we've covered so far. Billy gains Determination passively and by attacking. He consumes HP to start his 3-part special Drive combo, starting with Drive Suppression, Cool Wheelie, and then Run Wild. Billy can block attacks during the drive suppression portion. Blocking and landing cool wheelie will grant bonus determination. When Billy has 100 determination, hold basic attack to use full throttle Starlight for massive burst damage. To regain HP, Billy can land basic attacks. If you use drive suppression during or after the 4th basic attack animation, Billy will use less HP to start the move. Next, let's cover the rest of Billy's main moves. Billy's Dual King dodge counter is reminiscent of his OG one, but this time he fires his new arm cannon. This dodge counter has iframes, heals 10% max HP, and can chain directly into Billy's 4th basic. Not only is this safe to do every time, but Billy is going to heal even more HP. After Billy does his drive combo, if you try to basic attack, Billy will actually chain into the dodge counter. However, this version does not heal and it does not chain into the 4th basic, it chains into the 2nd basic. Billy's going to be doing his drive combo a lot, so this is just a fancier way for him to start his next basic attack string. If you mash basic attack early, Billy can actually skip the bike dismount and just go into the dodge counter move. You technically are going to lose the run wild damage, but he does get iframes a bit earlier. Instead of pressing basic attack after the drive combo, if you press special after cool wheelie, then Billy would do EX special rocking footwork. This follow-up EX special will cost 60 adrenaline. You need to do drive suppression first, so Billy will lose HP, but rocking footwork restores 15% max HP, so in total this comes out to a 1% max HP cost. Rocking footwork is kinda like attack Billy's chain attack and ultimate, just with a little more pizzazz at the end. You can only do rocking footwork after cool wheelie, and need to press special before Billy dismounts his bike. Since rocking footwork costs adrenaline, it does quite a bit of damage. Similar to full throttle Starlight, you can swap agents when Billy starts the move. So cool wheelie is Billy's first EX special, which is followed up by his second EX special, rocking footwork. Well, there is a third EX special called high traction wheels, where Billy slams his motorcycle down from the air. This one is done by holding special with 60 adrenaline at any time, and Billy will heal 30% max HP. Billy's chain attack should look familiar because it's the same animation, or at least very similar, to his EX special rocking footwork. The chain attack does less damage than his EX special counterpart though, and it does not heal. However, the chain attack grants a solid 15 determination. This is pretty important, and yes, Billy may want to do double chain attacks to get 30 determination. More on this in a bit when we talk about stun combos. Billy's ultimate is his flashiest high damage move. After some laps, Billy will hop off his bike to deliver his Starlight Knight flying kick. This move doesn't grant any determination or healing, it's just a pure awesome finisher. Billy's main moves are affected by his additional ability, which can be activated with either a stun, defense, or support agent. When hitting a foe with Billy's 4th basic attack, EX special cool wheelie, chain attack, or ultimate, Billy gains 1 Starlight for 45 seconds, stacking up to 2 times. Each stack of Starlight will grant Billy 20% bonus damage for his chain attack, ultimate, all EX specials, and his hold basic attack, full throttle Starlight. Starlight Billy's additional ability is a really basic 40% damage buff for all his big damage moves. If you land 2 4th basics or just 1 4th basic and 1 cool wheelie, then you're done stacking for the next 45 seconds. Billy should be refreshing this buff the entire fight, just like his 90% crit damage core passive. Billy's general game plan is pretty straightforward. You can start the fight by doing basic attacks, then blocking incoming attacks with drive suppression, which leads into cool wheelie. You can also just open with the drive combo to activate Billy's core passive and additional ability. Whenever Billy has 60 adrenaline, your drive combos can be followed up with EX special rocking footwork. Continue to basic attack and dodge counter to regain HP plus build adrenaline. All of these moves will be granting Billy determination, which you can use for full throttle Starlight when available. Before we proceed, I think it's important to understand how much damage Billy's main moves are dealing. Just to list the big damage moves, Billy's chain attack isn't that strong, but granting 15 determination is valuable, as we will discuss shortly. Naturally, Billy's ultimate is his strongest move, but it also takes a while, and you cannot swap out like the middle 3 moves. The hold EX special, high traction wheels, actually does decent damage despite being Billy's best healing move. EX special rocking footwork is technically stronger than high traction wheels, but it requires you to do cool wheelie first. This can be sped up if you block an incoming attack, but if the foe is stunned or something, then it's gonna take a while. As for full throttle Starlight, even though this is Billy's entire reason to build determination, it's really not that much stronger than the 2 adrenaline consuming EX specials. This is the main takeaway I want to point out. Full throttle isn't weak, Billy just has a ton of ways to deal really good damage. Let's try to showcase this with some stun combos. For a basic example, Billy can do one chain attack, then do his hold EX special, high traction wheels. During the animation, you can hold basic attack to do full throttle Starlight next. Lastly, we can finish with Billy's ultimate. After the chain attack, you're free to do full throttle first, then high traction wheels, or you could do the ultimate first, any order is totally fine. For the next example, let's say Billy doesn't have enough determination for full throttle. In that case, Billy can try to do double chain attacks. Get the stun and send Billy in. Cancel the second prompt, then swap to another agent. Land a heavy attack to get the third prompt and send Billy in again. Double chain attacks will grant 30 determination. If you still don't have enough, you can stall for time with Billy's hold special, which does grant some determination on hit as well. You can also use Billy's ultimate. Now while all of this is happening, Billy is also passively recovering determination over time. Again, it doesn't matter what order we do Billy's moves in, using full throttle at the end is totally fine. We just want to fit everything within the stun timer. If you want to pull out all the stops, Billy is able to start the stun phase with one full throttle, then recover enough determination to do a second full throttle at the end. This will require manual chain attacks, and I suggest having a stun time extender. For this method, you want to save up the full 120 determination bar. Get the enemy close to a stun, and then bring Billy in to trigger the stun damage multiplier. Hold basic attack to begin full throttle Starlight. Swap out, and as soon as Billy lands his exhaust, start the first chain attack. Next, cancel the second prompt. This time, we're going to be building extra determination by having Billy do the drive combo. If you do not have manual chain attacks, then the drive suppression will immediately start the next chain attack prompt. To avoid this, you want to press special, then immediately start holding basic attack. This will skip the chain attack prompt, and Billy will get to do cool wheelie for extra determination. After Billy does cool wheelie, then you can swap out to trigger the second chain attack for Billy. We still need to stall for determination, so Billy can insert his ultimate here. After that ends, you may need to do a couple basics, but Billy should be close to 100 determination, so you can do a second full throttle. We can call this the full determination combo, and while it's a lot of fun, you do not have to do this at all. You may have noticed, I did not even use Billy's hold EX special. If you remember the chart of Billy's damage multipliers, full throttle isn't doing that much more damage than the hold EX special. It also takes a lot longer to finish, so the second full throttle may not even get the full bonus stun damage. With this in mind, you can change your plan of attack based on what resources Billy has. For example, if you don't have adrenaline but you're high on determination, then the full determination combo might be your best option, where we're going to replace one EX special with the second full throttle. Another way to play Billy is to just use full throttle as soon as you get it. If you're close to a stun, you can try to conserve adrenaline to use one hold EX special during the stun phase. This game plan may work better for foes with shorter stun durations, and it's not a bad way to play for the 5th Shiyu stages. Since point multipliers there are based on time remaining, blasting full throttle earlier might be more beneficial point-wise. In my opinion, Starlight Billy is a very flexible damage dealer, which makes him a lot of fun to play. To lean into that idea, Billy is incredibly good at swapping in and out with his teammates. For this last section, let's go over how to inject even more style and flair into Billy's gameplay. When we need to bring Billy back into the field, we have a couple methods. The first is perfect assisting. Just like the entire Season 2 cast, Billy has swapped over to the defensive assist side. He has the regular version that costs 2 assist points versus big boss attacks, but my god, Billy blocking with his bike and then kicking it at the enemy is just flat out amazing. The other way to swap in is with quick assist. This has the same animation as the dodge counter, but it does not heal. It does, however, still change to the 4th basic, which is nice. Funnily, you will almost never see this move. That's because it only happens if Billy is under 25% HP. When Billy is above 25% HP, he will replace the quick assist with drive suppression and just ride right into battle. This is honestly such a fun way to re-enter combat, and it's quite useful because Billy can immediately block an attack or just activate cool wheelie. This effect does have a 5-second cooldown, but that shouldn't be an issue. The last mechanic in Billy's kit is that he can drift on his motorcycle. During any drive suppression, if you hold left or right on your movement input, Billy will drift in that direction. If you let go of your movement, Billy will end the drift early and go into run wild. Generally not ideal. We typically always want to do cool wheelie. To ensure this happens, just keep holding left or right. Drive suppression's duration is still being tracked, and at the end of it, Billy is going to chain to cool wheelie. From this point, everything else is the same as usual. So what is the point of drifting? While drifting, Billy can trigger Perfect Dodge. If you get attacked, Billy will automatically do his second dodge counter after fire spin. The drift counter has a blue tint, and Billy will flip off his bike before chaining into Cool Wheelie. This replaces the drive suppression block with an actual counterattack, and it feels so badass to pull off. For fans of the OG Attack Billy, this drift mechanic plus drift counter is just an upgrade from Billy's old Mindscape 2, where rolling shot can trigger perfect dodges and initiate a dodge counter. The same idea is being applied here. One thing to know is that Billy cannot immediately start drifting. If you want the drift counter, you need to start drive suppression a little early before the enemy attack lands. If you want to really show off, Billy is able to initiate the drift counter and activate perfect assist at the same time. This is a bit tougher to pull off than with Attacker Billy's M2, but man does it look awesome to watch Billy flip off the enemy in the background. On top of being fun to pull off, since Billy did a perfect dodge, he's getting 3 determination from the core passive. The drift counter will also follow up with Cool Wheelie, so that's another 8 determination. If you do not need to stay on the field, the drift counter plus perfect assist is an excellent way to swap out, flashy, and practical. For builds, Billy gets a huge 90% crit damage from his core passive and 40% damage from his additional ability. Both are extremely easy to keep active. Billy's signature W engine is Starlight Rider Faceplate. It grants 30% HP as a main stat along with 20% crit rate in battle. When using a special attack, aka Drive Suppression and Run Wild, Billy will get 10% physical shear damage for 30 seconds, stacking up to 2 times. You should be using the drive combo all the time, so this should be an easy 20% physical shear damage. Shear damage is a separate multiplier from the regular percent damage bonuses, so this is a good effect. For other options, most Rupture S-Rank W engines have an HP main stat with built-in crit rate like Starlight Rider Faceplate. You can use Yishuan's or Bonway signatures just for the easy stats. For A-Rank options, I hope you got the Cauldron of Clarity Event W engine from version 2.5, because it's going to be tough to beat this one. 25% HP main stat, and using an EX special grants 6.4% damage for 20 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. That's about 90% bonus damage, and if you have all 3 stacks, you get an extra 10.4% crit rate. Billy can technically use an EX special without Adrenaline thanks to Cool Wheelie, so he should have no trouble having to pass it up most of the fight. An extra 10% crit rate would be really nice. For another way to get an HP main stat W engine with crit rate, you can try to use Monotou's Gorilla Wisp. The crit rate buff only lasts for 5 seconds though after you lose HP. Before you use Billy's big moves, you can try to use Drive Suppression to activate the buff. Now from the Battle Pass, Radio Wave Journey grants HP, but its Sheer Force buff requires chain attacks and ultimates. The Craftable Puzzle Sphere has an attack main stat, but it grants 25% crit damage after using EX specials. Plus, if foes are under half HP, you get 32% bonus damage for EX specials. If you don't have any of these or you don't want to spend the crafting materials, you can use the 1B rank Gotcha Rupture W engine, Cinder Cobalt. For Drive This, it's pretty simple. Billy follows the other Rupture agents with the same general build. For main stats, he can use crit rate or crit damage in Partition 4, physical damage or percent HP Partition 5, and then percent HP Partition 6. Cool Wheelie is an EX special, so Billy can stack 4-piece Yunquai tails throughout the fight to give him another 12% crit rate. If you keep full stacks, Billy gets a 10% bonus shear damage. Now, if you're keeping the Cauldron W engine fully stacked, then Yunquai tails is also fully stacked. Both of those would give about 22% crit rate, 19% bonus damage, and 10% shear damage. As for 2-piece sets, Billy can go with Woodpecker Electro or Branch and Blade Song for extra crit stats. I would probably use Woodpecker first since his core passive gives such a huge crit damage head start. For other 2 pieces, you can use Bunny in Wonderland for another 10% HP set. There's also Fang Meadow or Whitewater Ballad for 10% physical damage. For teams, Billy can style on enemies on field with his built-in block and drift counter, plus he can break out some nice burst damage during stun phases with his arsenal of high damage moves. Billy can use the typical stun plus support buffer setup. He's also a lot of fun with double buffers. More fighting on field means more determination. It's been about 5 months since our last Rupture agent, but nothing has really changed in terms of the Rupture teams. Lucia is still our premier sheer force buffer, while Pawnee Hu is the A-rank alternative. Billy wants at least one of these 2 in the team, or you can run both. The best stunner is still Dylan, who also happens to be physical like Billy. With Dylan, you get extra stun time, extra stun damage, and extra ultimates. You probably won't be doing double chain attacks with Dylan, but I mean, that's fine when Billy gets an extra flying kick. For other stunners, Billy can do well with one of the Aftershock options. Jifufu grants extra decibels with crit damage buffs, Trigger has her small stun damage multiplier, and Polka can trigger her additional ability with Rupture Agents. You do need M6 Polka for this buff to matter, but she's a decent A-rank option in general. Physical attribute to match Billy, and Billy's drive combo will activate Polka's Aftershock trigger. Some agents kinda struggle with that, but not for Billy. If you're fine saving full throttle for the stun phase, Billy's okay with stunners like Ching-Yi, who may need a little bit more field time. She can offer her 80% stun damage bonus. Unfortunately, Billy doesn't get buffed by Lighter, but he technically can still apply his 3-second stun time extension. The A-rank stun Ambi doesn't buff damage at all, but she does stun decently fast. For Kaleda, she buffs chain attacks, which unfortunately are not really Billy's strong suit. Her additional ability works with Rupture Agents though, so maybe we can revisit her when she does get buffed eventually. Meanwhile, to kick off Season 3, Norma is another fire stunner coming soon. I'm kinda doubting they release another anomaly focused stunner right after Nangong, so potentially another teammate option for Billy. Moving on to support buffers, Billy can use any attack buffer, but they are just less effective. Not my first choice, but you could partner with Caesar or Lucy for the Caledon reunion. Zhao can give a nice 40% damage buff, but you have to use her with Lucia or another support, which is kinda limiting. Astra's an interesting option thanks to her extra chain attacks. Be on the lookout for future chain attack enablers. 50 Determination is quite nice for old Billy. Let's briefly cover Billy's Mindscapes. For M1, Billy now enters battle with a full 120 Adrenaline. When he hits a foe with any EX special, he ignores 18% physical resistance for 45 seconds. M1's a pretty simple damage buff. For M2, Full Throttle Starlight, Wheelie, and Billy's ultimate deal 50% more damage. After using EX specials, rocking Footwork or High Traction Wheels, or if Drive Suppression hits a stunned foe, Billy will gain Turbocharged. Drive Suppression will consume Turbocharge to immediately start Wheelie, and it gets a 50% crit damage buff. M2 allows Billy to skip the wait time for Drive Suppression to end before it changes into Wheelie. I did not test it, but I believe on stunned foes you should be able to drive into them, and then Billy will immediately do Wheelie. That grants determination faster, plus it opens up the chance to use Rocking Footwork if you want. Usually you need to block an attack to do the Wheelie without waiting. M2 will change that. For Mindscape 4, using Drive Suppression grants 8% crit damage stacking up to 2 times for 45 seconds. If Billy is below 35% HP and not the active agent, he will heal HP over time. M4 is basically a free 16% crit damage, and Billy will heal when off field if he's really low on HP. That way he can keep using Drive Suppression. For Mindscape 6, Billy's ultimate and Full Throttle Starlight get an 18% sheer damage buff. Landing forward basic attacks, Wheelie, or chain attacks will grant 1 stack of Brilliant Starlight, stacking up to 6 times. When Billy uses ultimate or Full Throttle, he will consume 2 Brilliant Starlight to deal 100% sheer force as extra damage per stack. So basically M6 buffs the ultimate and Full Throttle. It first buffs it with a sheer damage boost, and then second you add to its damage multiplier. If you can do the 2 Full Throttles plus 1 ultimate Full Determination combo, that will be able to consume all 6 stacks. If you want to invest in Billy, his signature is pretty straightforward, and you can use it on any other Rupture agent. Billy's Mindscape 1 will add Physical Res Shred, plus his M4 and M6 are also straight damage buffs. Mindscape 2 is the most interesting though, allowing Drive Suppression to immediately chain into Wheelie in certain situations. That can change Billy's combo options. For the after party section, I only have a couple more things to showcase. First, if you hold a direction and hold dodge, Billy can of course ride his motorcycle around. This is mainly just for fun, and Billy even hums the Starlight Night theme while cruising around. From the motorcycle or while on the ground, Billy's dash attack is a spinning slash toward the enemy. It doesn't have the best lunge range, but it does chain into Billy's second basic attack. Here's some extra info about the hold EX special, High Traction Wheels. If you hold special from a standstill and Billy has more than 25% health, he is actually going to use Drive Suppression first, then go into High Traction Wheels. This means Billy is going to lose 16% HP, then heal back 30%. You can still get the full 30% max HP healing, but only in certain situations. One of those is holding special when you're under 25% health. Billy is unable to do Drive Suppression, so this is the true emergency healing move if you're really feeling unsafe. Now another way to get the full healing effect is buffering the hold special input during certain attack animations. This will include after Billy's chain attack or ultimate. Those moves plus High Traction Wheels would generally be chained together during a stun phase. The other opportunity to buffer hold special is after Billy's dodge and dodge counter. The dodge counter is an easy one, but for the normal dodge animation, you kinda need to be really quick with holding down special. If you're too late, Billy will do dry suppression. In terms of aerial effect and grouping, Starlight Billy does pretty well. His bike moves have a decent AoE, plus having the block and drift counter gives Billy a lot of safety to style on multiple enemies. Now it's not a crazy amount, but it does seem like rocking Footwork and the chain attack kinda group enemies together. That is pretty nice if you're gonna be swapping off and then hitting them with someone else like your stunner or something. Overall, I think Billy offers a lot of flexibility when it comes to tackling different fights. You can spam full throttle off cooldown, or you can try to save it for a juicy double full throttle during a stun phase. Depending on what resources you have, Billy can alter his burst combos, and he's a great on-field fighter thanks to his fun dodge counters plus dry suppression block. I would say Billy is a solid Rupture agent if you haven't gotten any of the ones from the past year. He is simply a joy to play. Starlight Billy will be the final agent for Season 2 of Zenless Zone Zero. Whether you've been watching my guide since the start or joined in the past year, thank you for watching. I will see you in Roscalifer.